the top is about to come in. It'll be top 11 teams plus. And then lost to Utah. Still have a color. No, that's it.
All right, guys. Sorry it took a minute. I'm actually really bad at, we have a great staff and the administration and everybody tries to help organize all this stuff, and I'm the worst because I don't like making any decisions before a game, like on what we're going to do after the game, whether we're going to do senior speeches, whether we're going to cut down the net. I learned a lesson. My 30th birthday, my wife threw a party for me, December 21st, and we had a snowstorm in Spokane, and we're playing Portland State, bye game. So the canceled flight. They bust to Spokane, showed up 40 minutes before the game. It's my birthday, right? I mean, Gonzaga should beat Portland State at home. We lost. And then we had to go to my birthday party after. You should have seen Coach Few at my birthday party, on my 30th birthday party after we lost. So after that, I don't plan anything, after the games. I'm just, hey, but you guys can all take care of it and just tell me what to do. So thanks for being patient with us. Obviously a great day for our program, a great accomplishment. But we want to keep it moving. I'm not going to make light of it and just, gloss over it, but we want to keep it moving. We want to play good Saturday at Colorado and kind of meet the standard. But the guys were great today. And you know what? First off, I want to give credit to Iowa State. They're a pain in the ass to play against. You can't run your offensive stuff. They pressure you out of everything, and then they're so good at utilizing their strengths on offense. I thought our guys were really good defensively today, but you really have to overextend yourself to stay ahead of those guys. So TJ, is a friend of mine, and and one of the good guys in this business, and I'm proud to compete against him, and he's done a hell of a job there.
When you kind of first started your Big 12 journey, you could have won a game like this, or have you gotten tougher,
sure.
More physical, et cetera?
This team's built that way, but I think the narrative that we were soft is lazy. Look at our stats, look at our analytics. We've always been a great rebounding team. We've always pounded the paint. If you want to just be lazy and not pay attention and say we're soft because we're on the West Coast, be lazy. And I'd love to play against you, because we know we got dudes, and we love this game, and I'm okay with this style of game. I have no problem with how it played out, and if you want to compete at the highest level of college basketball, you better be able to go toe to toe with somebody, and so that's how we're built, and I think we've always been built that way.
Mo is means so much to you guys defensively. How much has he changed or gotten better since the beginning of the year?
He's made a huge jump. This is his second year of college, really. He had the injury last year. And the injury started in the summer, and we tried to get through it. So he didn't really get a summer, 2 years ago, and then we were nursing it during the season. Then obviously his season ended. So he's just finally getting experience, and I'm really proud of him how he's impacted the game defensively. Because when first recruited him, I thought he was going to be like a dominant offensive center. So I really talked to him this offseason about, the offense is going to come, but can you make yourself into a consistent defensive force and a defensive guy on the glass? And he's done that this year.
Talk a little bit about what Jaden and Tobe and Delly in particular mean to this program, and how special it is to win the championship, in their
Well,
last
it's great. I know we could say this day and age, things are different, but it doesn't bother me that they're different because, how you treat people matters. And when you have guys like that stick around your program, it's because you have relationships with them. And there's trust on both sides of that relationship. So for me, the transfer portal and all this stuff, NIL stuff, it's just a great litmus test for how you treat people. And if you treat people right, you're gonna loyal people are gonna be attracted to it, and so like-minded people are gonna want to stay together. So I'm really proud of those guys. Jaden's been awesome. I mean, he's had an incredible year. And Tobe has come so far in his 2 years. I mean, it's tremendous. I mean, the only thing I'm disappointed is I don't get to coach those guys another year. So I was lobbying for that 5th-year deal, but I think I lost. So, and then Delly, I mean, you guys you've watched his struggle from up close this year, and I think somebody should be commended that goes through that, because we all go through tough moments in life, whether it's school or a job. His happens to be public in a place that really cares about basketball, and he hung with it. And I told you guys he was going to be at our best. He was going to be at his best when his best was needed, and that's what high character competitors do. So thank you to those guys.
The growth of Jaden from first coming to Arizona to the player he is today.
Man, we recruited Jaden obviously out of high school, and he was a good player. He had a solid freshman year at Alabama, and then he came here, and we really challenged him to get better just at some of his techniques and packages, and he's done that. And listen, the staff can get some credit, but he deserves most of the credit because he's the guy who's put in the work and been receptive to and open-minded to some of these things. And what's really cool is he's kind of made him his own. I mean, he's not a robot. He's not like a programmed player by us. I mean, he combines some of our teaching with some of his charisma and talent, and it's turned out to be a great combination.
At the end of the year, you guys talked about him not being on point guard lists, awards watch lists, and it seemed like he had a chip on his shoulder early on. Just how he handled it.
I don't think he had a chip on his shoulder. Guys, no one wants to be on preseason list. Who cares? That's for you guys. We actually have to go out and play and coach. So we want to be on postseason lists. That's what matters. And so, I don't know, maybe some guys that start on the list have a little head start, but I'll tell you what, consistent performance speaks way louder than a preseason list. And no one's been a more consistent performer in the country than Jaden Bradley.
The crowd, hopefully it's the team that can do something special. How much does celebrating on the court, cutting down the nets, sort of set the intention and help the team kind of visualize what can happen here?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about vision a lot. What's our vision? What's our purpose? And vision is it's imagery, and we want to envision ourselves cutting down the nets. We want to envision hoisting that trophy. Now you don't get ahead of yourself. Then you got to dig into like, okay, well, what do we got to do to get that? What's the most important thing today? Let's lock into our process. So, but to be able to do it at home and celebrate with our fans is really cool. And when you move to a conference like the Big 12, you don't know how it's going to turn out. I mean, obviously, I was like, bring it on, but no one's predicting the future. And for us to go out and do this in our second year, I mean, I think it says a lot about Arizona basketball. And it's not about me; it's about the program, and it's about the program well before me. That gave us the foundation to do this kind of stuff. So we're excited to carry on the legacy, and we want a good day off tomorrow, and then we want to get back to it.
Does it mean more than the 2 Pac-12 titles because of the league being stronger?
I mean, it's like asking to choose your favorite kid, Bruce. Listen, those Pac-12 ones were special, because we just got it started here, and what it did, it created a foundation, of what we could do as a program, and it created belief, and those things matter, and so we have deep belief that we can be one of the best basketball programs in the country consistently, but we know we're going to have to fight for that. We know talk is cheap.
7 of the next 8 days, you guys will have off in the schedule and how it's set up.
Well, it's good, but now you got to take advantage of it. You got to take advantage of it. You can't let your guard down. You got to rest. You got to recover. You got to strengthen. You gotta get back in the gym, and you got to figure out, okay, what do we got to do to continue to improve? The best teams I've ever been a part of continue to get better week by week in March. They don't rest on what they've done, and we always talk about it as a program. We are always going to be more excited about what lies ahead than protect what we've already accomplished. So we're excited to play at Colorado. I mean, listen, Colorado, I've went up there with a good team before and got smacked. I know how tough it is to play there. So trust me, it's got my full attention. And then obviously after that, we'll get a few days off, and then we'll see how that Big 12 tournament shakes out. So that's kind of next on the horizon. So that'll be our focus.
Early in the first half, Iowa State had a possession where they had 3 shots, a couple close to the rim, didn't score, and then another one in the second half where they got 5. Those kind of defensive efforts, when you're giving up the offensive rebounds but not letting that
So
sack.
basically, that's 8 of their 33 rebounds in 2 possessions. Yeah. I mean, I remember those, and yeah, they were disappointing. Thank God they kept missing. And maybe they didn't score. I don't know if they ended up scoring on those possessions. But, yeah, we started out the game. We weren't great on the glass. I mean, our rebound instincts and habits, weren't up to it. And, we talked about it at a timeout, and I think we were able to flip it. But listen, Iowa State's also a really good rebounding team. I mean, they know where their shots are going to come from, and they have guys who know their job is to go in there and rebound. I mean, the number 23, the Buchanan, I mean, we obviously talked about our guys, how good of an offensive rebounder is, and he has 6. So, so easier said than done, but thank God we were able to, they didn't make some of those shots, and we were able to kind of, get more comfortable on the glass throughout the game.
Is the same thing that Kansas the other night, they made a big surge, you guys answered it. Tonight, Iowa State got within 7 in the second half, and immediately you guys answered that. What does that say about you guys?
Well, I mean, what's the old cliche? It's a game of runs. There is a little truth to that. And when you're playing a good team that, if you get up on them, there's from all the thousands of basketball games I've watched over the years, there's a good likelihood they can make a run back at you. And when they make a run back at you, it's really important not to buckle, not to feel bad, not to feel guilty, that you lost a lead. Because there's still game to be played. And obviously the objective once you start the game is to win the 40 minutes, not, be up 16, 8 minutes into the game, and then let's say 4 minutes into the second half, they go up 2. You can't, because that 18-point swing, you can't feel bad because you still got to win the game. So we talk about that all the time, just staying steady, get into the next thing. Let's be in the moment. The moment's this possession, and then then let's try to create good opportunities for the next possession. We really keep it that simple.
Your 140th win. You mentioned the former staff and players in the foundation for you here at Arizona. What does it mean to you to just continue that legacy and that tradition from Luke Wilson and Sean Miller, and in such a short amount of time, you're able to just bring it back and keep Arizona at a national level?
Well, I feel fortunate, feel lucky, all those things. And, I'm not good at counting big numbers. It's really hard for me to count past 1. So I keep it pretty simple. But, yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy the program's having success. I'm happy for the community. Because, when I walk around town, like when I go, every once in a while I snag a Sonoran dog over at Momo's, and I walk over there from here, and it's crazy how people are right now. I mean, I can't walk, everybody's honking and yelling at me, and, so sometimes like I'll just stay in my office because you don't want to be, you don't want to go draw attention to yourself. But I'm just thankful that I get to represent this community, and I take that role seriously. I love this place, and what brings me joy is we win and everyone embracing and feeling good and smiling. I mean, that joy is really powerful. Yeah, thanks for bringing him up. I mean, Dwayne was awesome. It's as good as he's played all year, And, sometimes as a freshman, you see Koa didn't have a great game today statistically, but I thought he really impacted the game. He had some great defensive plays. He did a great job on Jefferson, who's a really good player. But those guys both had a little break, and you could see there's been a freshness to them. And to be honest with you, we haven't even been able to practice that hard the last couple of days, kind of ramping up for this. So Dwayne, didn't really kind of get back with us till we got back here, and just before the Kansas game. And so, obviously we didn't do much at practice yesterday. So for him to come out and play like that, it's really cool. It's really cool. Dwayne's had a, kind of an up and down freshman year, like a lot of freshmen have, but obviously he's incredibly talented. And for him to have that competitive character to come out and do that today, says a lot about Dwayne as a person and a competitor.
One more question. You mentioned that you have one game left against Colorado. The Big 12 tournament is coming up. There is a school of thought that if you're locked into a number 1 seed, that maybe a conference tournament doesn't mean all that much. Is that a dangerous kind of mindset to
I mean, I don't know. I don't overthink it. Like, if you put us in a tournament, I guess I'm a sucker for it. I'm going to try to win it. And I'm going to try to win it one game at a time, and it's not going to be much more complicated than that. We're not going to go to Kansas City and, kick it and so we can come back home a couple of days early. If we lose, we'll come back and we'll regroup and we'll get ready for the NCAA tournament. But we keep it pretty simple. I mean, let's get through the Colorado game, and then, once we get to the Big 12 tournament and kind of see how the bracket breaks, we're going to be ready to play. I guess we don't play till Thursday, right? So, so we'll be ready to go Thursday, whoever we play against, and if we're fortunate enough to get through Thursday, we'll figure out who we play Friday, and then, we're going to keep it going. So no, we're excited for the opportunity, proud of what these guys have done, thankful for you guys, thankful for the community, and let's keep this thing going.
All right, questions for Tobe, Anthony, and Jaden.
How special was it?
How does it feel to play your last game at McKale Center?
Just blessed to be in this position. Grateful for the coaches, the staff, everybody that's been a part of the journey. Didn't have to take me here, and excited that we, did what we did today. Big 12 regular champions, and just grateful for the opportunity.
For anybody, Coach Lloyd said that Iowa State is, quote, a pain in the ass to play against. Maybe in the past, you guys had some struggles against teams like that. Not the case this year or tonight. Do you feel like you've gotten tougher over the last 2 years of being in the Big 12, more physical?
Yeah, for sure. I think this league forces you to test yourself day in and day out. And there's such a dynamic, amount of teams with different play styles. So, you're going to get tested all throughout. And I think it's a great, sort of preparation period, conference season from March as well. So I think, we've taken some hits, last year, this year. But I think I'm just proud of the way that we've bounced back and the way that we've been able to just sort of galvanize as a group.
How happy are you guys to have Dwayne back and to make such a big impact after being out a couple games?
Yeah, he's great. Obviously, what he went through and to be able to step up and come in, against one of the best teams, it's pretty special. He had a lot of big plays and he got the crowd going for sure, and that was, exciting to see for him.
Yeah, that just shows, his character. Always, ready when your name's called. I feel like that dunk is probably one of the biggest plays in the game. Just crash the offensive glass and, get the crowd going. So it definitely was a game changer.
This is for whoever. If you could talk about the impact Krivas has defensively for you guys, one, and two, how improved he's come from September to now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tremendous force. Just the way that, he's able to move his feet at that size, and, he's so strong, which I think is something underrated about him. He's a force, and a lot of the times he's saving our behinds, when we get beat, and he's down there saving it, you know what I mean? So he's a tremendous, have on this team, and sort of the unsung hero of this team, you know what I mean? He's been a rock throughout the whole season, and, I feel like he should get his flowers way more. But, obviously he's coming off injury last year, and just the way that he's been able to work and grind to get himself to, prepare for the season, and then just to grow and build, throughout the whole season. It's been, incredible to watch, and it's just a testament to who he is as a player.
As your guys' time at Arizona comes to a close, what do you want the Tucson community, the fan base to remember about you, but more importantly, kind of just this team and the journey that you all have been on?
I feel like people have a good sense of how much we like each other and how much we enjoy being around each other, off the court, on the court. That's something that's special that, you see later on when you get through March and people say it after they're winning, but I think this team has a genuine care for each other, and you can see it on the court. No one cares about stats, no one cares about minutes. It's just pure joy for winning, and that's something we've been able to keep going strong all year.
This question is for any of you. What's one piece of advice you would give to an upcoming freshman who's coming to the team next year?
I would just say serve the game. Do everything the right way, and it's gonna the game's gonna treat you well. Come work every day. Find your older guy, push him. He knows a lot of the tools and stuff. So just be a sponge, learn, and just give it your all.
How long do you guys allow yourselves to enjoy this before you start focusing on the rest of what's going on that you want in March?
I mean, I think it's just about staying in the moment, appreciating it. Don't take it for granted, obviously. We get a ring, we get to cut nets down, and we get to do it on our home floor. But I would say don't get drunk off the feeling, you know what I mean? We still want the big one, obviously. But again, this is one of the milestones we've been looking, forward to from the beginning of the season, and, we've achieved it. So, I think we should give ourselves a pat on the back, but don't get stuck in the moment, you know what I mean? We still got work to do, so.
Dale, you've been on a tremendous heater the last 2-3 weeks. What's been the difference from you?
I think it's credit to my teammates, firstly. They've never lacked belief in me or confidence. And that's another credit to this team. I'm able to do what I can do, whether I'm playing good, bad, whatever. These guys will always understand what I bring, and vice versa to them. That's something that has helped me through the year, the ups and downs. Obviously, coaches, putting the work in, just staying positive. I know what I can do, I know how good I am at certain things, and just trusting it. You know, some nights it goes, some nights it doesn't. You can't get so down that you can't get back out.
How has it felt though? Because, you know, it's a weight off your shoulder, or what, how does it feel?
I mean, it feels great. Obviously, to play better, it feels unbelievable, and to keep winning, I think that's the best thing. When I can have a stretch where it wasn't the best, and we're still winning, that's the best feeling. That shows how good we are. It can be anyone's night, any night. It makes teams really hard to scout us because we have so many guys that can do so many things. That was the best thing. I mean, I can sit here and be, you know, in a hole and worry about myself, but we're still winning. So, like, I got to be the best teammate I can.
Jaden, you've been consistent all year, I know, but did you even feel the, you know, 3 years here, last time out in McKale, any more sense of urgency or just wanting to really, you know, a little different tone to this for you or anything?
You know, just grateful to be here. I wouldn't be here without my teammates. They make it so much easier for me. Tobe cleaning up the rebounds, Mo cleaning up, you know, Deli just being a threat out there. So I'm just a little piece to the puzzle, and, you know, grateful to just be in this position and playing in front of McKale.
You were part of that team that won the last Pac-12 title. How does that compare to this year?
Quite honest, I don't remember that one. I don't. But I'm going to remember this one. Big 12, best conference in college basketball right now. Just doing it with my brothers, just know the stuff we talked about before the season, you know, it's clicking, but, you know, March is a special month in basketball. We still got a lot of room to go.
This question's for all three of you. If your time at McKale or playing at McKale is over, what was your guys' favorite game to play here?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually. I think the one that comes to mind is when we played Iowa State last year. Caleb won that shot. That's probably the loudest I've heard McKale, you know, since I've been here. Another whiteout game, so I think that was just a surreal environment to be a part of, you know.
Yeah, I'll probably say, coincidentally, both Iowa State games, last year and this year. It's pretty hard to top a win and, you know, get the championship outright.
Nah, yeah, for sure. Same thing. I mean, that shot that Caleb hit, that's classroom stuff, March basketball stuff. Like, you don't get to witness that in person. So, you know, it was crazy.
My greatest assist.
How's your ankle? Did any lingering, anything with that, or is it past you now? It's fine.
It's great. J-Rock, Melly, all the guys in the training room, they're the best. I've never seen anyone like them. Obviously, to go through what I went through only a week ago, they've been able to speed run me, and it feels great. I wouldn't be able to play at all if it wasn't for those guys.
You said you did like 15 hours a day or something on that Texas trip.
Yeah, basically, like the Houston game was at 2. We probably got back at around 5, and it was like straight to it. He was in the hotel room 24/7. You know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the road. That whole 5-day trip, like. I can't thank J-Rock enough and all those guys. They seriously, like, took me from no chance to I'm 110%.
So I was wondering, yeah, did you ever think it could keep you out for a game or anything, or, you know, have any doubts about it?
Nah, I basically just listened to J-Rock and did everything I could, and just not try to get, like, psych myself out on the feelings. He's got a repertoire for these sort of things, and you know, his resume on building that is unbelievable. So I just trusted him.
For anybody, he wasn't the only one who guarded Jefferson, but Koa was on him a lot, and Jefferson ended up 2 for 17. In this game, what did you guys think of Koa's defense in that matchup?
Koa's, you know, great on both ends of the floor, and it showed tonight to take on, you know, that matchup. You know, it's a tough matchup. You know, he's physical, can step out, shoot a 3. But, you know, hats off to Koa, paid attention to the scout. You know, that was a tough task, and, you know, he did a great job.
These games, you know, the last few that you've played, just the kind of gauntlet you've had, maybe they feel more like March games, and as the stakes elevate with the young guys on your team, how do you just kind of use these experiences to help them understand what it feels like to get into the tournament here in a couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole sort of thing about playing the Big 12. It does get you ready for March, and I think during this last stretch, we've played some pretty aggressive teams that sort of try to get you rattled in the beginning of the game, trapping the ball screen, super handsy on defense. So, you know, I think that that bodes well for March. You know what I mean? When we're in, you know, high-level environments, you know, both teams' crowds are going crazy. We've been tested. You know what I mean? We've been trapped before. We've been swarmed before. We've been doubled in the post before. So I think again we're just building a repertoire to you know make our best push in March.
One more question for the
I was just wondering for Deli and Toby, both you guys, took these roles, being starters last year, playing off the bench. I know Toby, you said something about early that you knew what Tommy was trying to build. Did you think it would be like this? It would come out as well as it has?
I mean, I didn't really look too far down this line, but I knew that if we put the right pieces in place, we could do something special. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I just trust the coach to the max. I know his character as a person and as a coach, and there's nobody else, coaching-wise, I would want to put my trust in when it comes to that kind of stuff. And he's always looked out for me as a person, as a player. So I didn't really, I didn't really think twice about doing that, in the beginning of the season.
Deli, your thoughts on that? Just kind of how your role fit into the way this team worked out?
Yeah, it's at the start, it's definitely interesting because it's something I've never been through in my life. So it's like I didn't know what to expect. But like Tobe said, we know Coach and we know what the team has and what we can bring, and he trusts us to the max. He doesn't care about what the stats say or what the lineup says or anything like that. He just puts you in there and he instills the most confidence in you and tells you to go out there and have fun and kill it. And I think it's been great for our team. I think me watching Tobe, the way he attacks it and the way he accepts that role and he's able to turn it into his own thing. I mean, I think that's huge for our team, and it takes out so much ego and so much selfishness and all those feelings that can bring a team down. So a guy like Tobe that can just accept that so well and thrive off it, it's helped our team tremendously.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.